We have some deeper stretches just ahead, and we'll spend a little bit of time making some fun shapes in the air and end with some relaxation. Set the hammock to the height of your knees and maybe something to pad your knees if you have sensitivities. Hopefully you'll enjoy this one, and let's get to work. We'll begin practice behind our fabrics, toes together, knees wide. Relax your shoulders, sit tall, close your eyes. Take a breath in, and just gently sigh it out. Just because we're here with our bodies, sometimes our minds are still elsewhere. So finishing up any conversations, emails, or text messaging so that you can be present here with me and in our practice. Maybe setting an intention here, something that you've been working on or something that's been challenging you lately. How can you use this practice to help you become more resilient and help us through our challenges? Inhale the arms up, and as you exhale, bring the hands through the center of your hammock. Just create a little bar there and extend forward and long. Nice long spine, draw the navel in, and imagine trying to draw the armpits towards the floor. There's an active reach of the hands away from you, arms are straight. And take this into a little side hinge. Try to rotate from one side all the way over to the other. Give it that little pause at end range as you come up and back. Meet me over on that right side and try to spiral that left shoulder and armpit towards the ceiling. Keep trying to pull the fabric away from you. On an exhale, sweep through center, over to the left. We're going to spiral open with that right arm. Beautiful, and back to center. Roll your way up. And leave just your left hand in. So I'm going to have the fabric right on my wrist. Extend your body weight forward. And you'll focus on shoulder range of motion here. So the arm is going to sweep behind you. Now as it comes behind you, the palm will face the ceiling. And as it comes in front of you, the palm will face the floor. So I just want you to focus on active pressure into the hammock. I even like to bend my elbow as that arm comes behind. But just explore this. If you find a spot to pause, I like to extend the arm forward and just let my body weight hang for a moment. If you're long with me with the arm, go ahead and look to the right and tuck your chin in towards the shoulder, getting into your trap. Roll your way up. Right arm is going to extend. We want to keep just the wrist in. Come forward, active pressure into the fabric. Sweep behind you. Maybe bend that elbow. Palm will be facing the ceiling as it comes behind, facing the floor as it comes forward. You might hear some popping or cracking here. Find a place to pause. Maybe extend that arm long. Look towards the left. Chin tucks in. Actively press downward with your arm. Roll your way up. Release the hands and come underneath and around for a basic wrist wrap. Drop your hips to one side so you can bring those legs out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall, and then just slowly lower yourself onto your back. Legs are going to come out and around, catching the fabric, and I want you to find your ankles. Arms out to a T, little side hinge from one side over to the other. Just try to relax here, let the body go along for the ride. Hinging to the right, I'm going to take out my left leg and extend it on the floor. So I want you to reach those left toes as far away from you as you can, while keeping both shoulders grounded on the floor. Breathe into your twist. Actively push down into your fabric with the ankle. Left foot comes in, coming into that little side hinge. Over to the left. Right leg is gonna reach. So I'm gonna reach those toes. Even if you wanna grab the ankle here, it's kind of nice too. Extend those toes in opposite directions. Feel that nice ringing out as you exhale. Come back to center. Ankles are going to come into the fabric and kick to the back of the knee creases. You'll want to do a little ab crunch here to get up onto that fabric with your hands. Engage your glutes and find your way up to a seat. That fabric is right underneath you, and I want you to walk back. So we want to come behind the rigging point. Flex your feet. Sit up nice and tall and use the creases of your elbows to catch behind the fabric and fold forward. This is your Paschimottanasana, our forward fold. Continue to try to pull the toes towards your face. Heart extends forward and try not to reach with your chin. Right? Look down. Lengthen the back of your neck. Let this be active. Squeeze and tone the muscles in your thigh. Roll up and just give it a little swing. We're going to try that one more time. Let's see if we can go a little bit deeper. Catching the floor with those feet. And then walking back. I'm going to walk a little further back. Give me those toes towards the face, heels digging into the floor as you fold into your Paschimottanasana. Find the angle that works for you, toes to your face. Soften in the knees and come right underneath that plumb line. If you need to pad your knees for your lunge series, I want you to just grab that towel or a blanket. Slide your left knee to the floor, and the right foot is going to come forward. Right now the fabric is behind us. Try to drop that left hip. Arms are going to extend behind you. Just hold on to your fabric to start. Allow this to open the chest. A little bit of a flossing if you want. Just explore the pose. Release the left hand and see if you can grab the fabric to the right with both hands. So I'm trying to climb up that right side with both hands as I sink the hip to the floor. Now if you feel it comfortable and you want to go deeper, I'm going to let my body weight fall to the left and feel this huge sense of stretching, almost as if I'm stretching the fascia, all the way down that left side, deep in the hip flexor. I could also feel this in the core. Draw the navel in. Coming back to center, reach for that fabric with the left, coming back to that chest opening. Maybe sink a little bit deeper through the hip, opening the heart. Fabric is going to come in front of you. You're in a basic wrist wrap. I'm going to interlace my hands. Nice and slow, begin to push back. Toes to your face, heart extends forward. As you roll your way up, pull that right knee underneath you. Keep the wrist wrap. Extend forward. Tailbone is going to lift as the heart sinks. Try to actively push the fabric away from you. Nice long arms. Roll your way up. Left knee steps through, letting the right hip sink. Bring that fabric behind you. Just focus on opening your chest. Sinking through that right side, heart is open. Micro movements just to further get into that hip. Release with the right hand. I'm going to find both hands on the left pole. So I'm going to climb up that fabric. This is going to keep the heart lifted. try to send your body weight so as to come falling to the right. Draw the navel back. Even if you could actively push that shin into the floor, you're gonna go even deeper. It is amazing. I always think people who haven't tried hammock don't know what they're missing when I'm in a pose like this. Resume center. So both hands are on each pole. Begin to pull the fabric overhead. The foot will flex as you extend the heart forward, coming into that hamstring. Roll your way up and pull that left leg underneath. Release that wrist wrap. Sit in hero's pose or child's pose with wide knees. Roll the wrists nice and slow. Articulate through that circle, feeling a nice stretch across the top of the knuckles. Flex the palms, push them away. Tilt your head to the right as you really extend and press through the left hand. And then same thing, tilt to the left, push through the right. Release the stretch. And I want you to set up so that your knee pad is just behind your fabric. We're gonna guide that right knee in. So however you need to scoop and tuck that knee up and through. Nice and tall, come forward into your lunge, just as we were before. Let that left hip sink, hard to the ceiling. Start by actively pushing your fabric away from you. That's gonna keep the chest lifted. Make sure you're drawing the navel in. Left hand comes to the right pole. Right hand is gonna reach behind you. Now you can hold here. If you're feeling a little more open or you've been here before and you wanna go a little bit deeper, you can try to reach the back foot. So I'm gonna reach for the left foot and gently guide it in, finding a little more depth in the quad. Release the grip if you have one. We'll come back to center. And I want you to guide the fabric now to the ankle. I want you to make sure you're in control of the pose, nice and tall. Begin to extend forward to your degree. So we're coming into a little bit of a split here. Keep the chest lifted. Option to deepen, we're gonna go back into that position. So both hands are holding onto the right pole. Even looking over your right shoulder, keep the heart lifted. Release by pulling those inner thighs together. Rotate towards the left. So both hands are gonna come to the floor on the left side and try to sink your body weight forward, coming into what feels like a little middle split position. Maybe scissor in and out once or twice, just kind of looking for end range. And then to deepen, you'll take a little walk. So the hands are gonna come closer towards that extended right leg. So the more I can walk my body to the right, the more I'm gonna feel this. Give it one more breath. Slow transition back. Pivot. Let's go ahead and face that fabric. Kick the leg through. And then you can climb up and in. Left is gonna come through all the way onto your back. Right underneath that breaking point. I just want you to pause here and take a body scan. Notice how you're feeling between your two sides. The mind likes to drift and it likes to judge and critique. Just be present. Enjoy the practice as it unfolds. Knees can come to the chest and legs kick around and through. Reach up with your hands, wrist wrap. Pull your way up. And let's sit up for that second side. However you need to tuck that left knee up and through. Getting ready for our lunge. Sink the hip forward. Just take a moment here, notice how this side feels. I want you to actively push the fabric away to keep the chest nice and open. To deepen, we cross. So right is going to grab left pole. Left can reach behind. You can hold here. If you think you have the bind, I'm going to bend and look for that foot. Do what feels best in your shoulder for the grab. Make sure that when you release, it is with control. Hands are going to grab onto that fabric. Inner thighs pull together. Kick to the ankle. Try not to just hang in your pose here. I'm going to focus on really doing this with control. Extending forward and finding my end range, whatever that might be. Reach across. We want to go to that left pole. Maybe look over the left shoulder. Breathe in. And on that exhale, inner thighs, pull you back. Getting ready for that transition. We pivot, coming down onto forearms or forearms and palms, middle split. Just sink forward, look for end range. And you can also try that little progression where you walk a little further forward. So I'm going to actively push down into my fabric with my ankle, coming a little closer towards the extended leg. Slow on that release, find your way back. And as you roll up, face your fabric. Kick that left foot through, and then bring the right leg up and in. Find your seat, walk back. Hamstring stretch again, so this is a little bit of recovery. Pull those toes towards you, relax your hands, wiggle the fingers, take your fold. Walk those hips underneath your plumb line and go ahead and rise to stand. As you stand up, I just want you to hold on to that fabric, step onto your right foot, and extend into an airplane position. Try to open up the chest here by actively trying to pull the fabric out of the ceiling. Try to point that left foot, extend back. Breathe in. And on the exhale, try to curl that knee into your nose and extend it back. Breathe in. Exhale, knee to nose. Twice more. Open, breathe. Exhale, curl. Last time. Really try to sink the chest, engage the glutes. Bend the left, come right down where the right is. I want you to catch your elbows in the fabric, shake your head, just take a fold. I like to have you wiggle your fingers here, so let any tension go. Reaching up with those hands, you're on the inside of the fabric as you roll up. Extend the heart forward. Point that right toe. As it reaches back, I want you to get nice and high with that leg, engaging the core. Actively try to pull the fabric out of the ceiling. Breathe in. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, open. Exhale, pull in. Extend, breathe. Last time, knee in. Extend long. Feet to the floor, roll your way up. Let's explore our floating balancing plank pose. To begin, straddle your fabric. Now, if this is the first time you're seeing this, maybe watch first. I do have it in tutorial format, so I'll make sure it's linked below. We'll begin by putting your left foot in. Now notice my left foot is sideways, so I want to be on my inner arch. Fabric is going to come to the sacrum. So if it's my left foot that's in the fabric, I'm going to want to put the fabric across my right shoulder in trap. So I'm working on a diagonal line. Holding on with both hands. Feet are going to stack, one on top of the other. Both toes are turned out. Squeeze your hips to the ceiling. This is your balancing plank pose. If you feel balanced, you can always try extending or bending a leg. There are wobbles and shakes here, but I feel safe. I'm holding on tightly. Exiting, you'll bend the knees, slide down that little seat, stepping your top foot off first, and then your bottom. All right, let's try our second side. Inner arch, right? So my foot is turned out, coming to the sacrum. So if it's my right foot, I'm coming to my left trap. Hold down with both hands, squeeze the glutes up, stack those feet, come into your plank. Remember, wobbles are normal here. Bend the knees, slide down into your seat, top foot first, and then bottom foot. Step out of that fabric, find your way down to the floor. Once you come down onto those knees, I want you to catch your fabric. I'm gonna go right behind those shoulder blades, coming into a little camel variation. Press and squeeze the glutes forward, navel's drawn in. Support your hands behind your head and gently arch over the fabric. There should be no back pain here. Keep engaging the glutes. Take another breath. Allow the hips to sink, head can come up first. And just extend forward, take that nice long stretch forward. Try to reach those arms away, active pressure downwards into your fabric. Roll your way up, let's try that one more time. Coming behind those shoulders as you sink back. Really want to focus on squeezing the glutes, pelvis forward. Support the head, see if you can go a little deeper. There should be no pain in the low back here. Head lifts first, and then you could reach for the fabric as you sink down with the hips. Come up and over. We're gonna get set up for a little pose that looks very much like downward facing dog. From here, you'll want to place the fabric in your hip flexor. So if it's a little high like mine, just come up onto one foot, find those hip flexors, and then you can come down. You're on your forearms and elbows, just like your downward facing dog. I want you to tuck your toes, engage your thighs, right? I'm going to lift my tailbone towards the ceiling. And try to sink the chest towards the floor. Start with your forehead. And just focus on trying to lengthen and open up through this thoracic region. Now, if you feel good here, you can try to put your chin on the floor if you're ready for that. Come up halfway. I'm gonna keep just my right arm long, palm can even face the ceiling. I'm gonna let my body weight sink. I'm gonna push up, position my left, and look to that same direction. Imagine trying to push your right arm into the floor. Second side, left palm faces the ceiling. We're gonna look to the right as we sink down. Keep that downward dog shape, tailbone is lifted. Push down through the left side. Come back to center. Forearms and elbows come right underneath your plumb line. Now you may need to do a little peek over the shoulder. I'm gonna do one foot at a time to make life easy. I'm gonna hook one foot in front of the fabric and then the other. So we have our baby wrapped down dog. Walk back with those forearms. Actively push into the fabric with your feet and try a little side bend. Just think of a little hip crunch from one side over to the other. And then nice and slow, come back to center. I'm gonna float forward, coming underneath my plumb line. Palms extend forward and melt the heart towards floor. Chin or forehead rest. And release. Extend those legs back. We'll come into a little float here. So I want you to keep those toes nice and low. Think of a plank pose. Engage all the muscles of your thighs. Press into the floor, lifting the upper body. And just try to release one hand, extend it forward. See how that feels. And then try the other. And then release. Cross the hands, cross the ankles, and just hang, letting the work go. Let me try that one more time. I'm going to add a progression for you. Now it is helpful to keep your legs a little bit wider here, so I'm going to go about the distance of my mat with my feet. You can do one arm at a time like we did, or you can try one arm forward and one arm back. Nice and slow for the other side. This does take practice. We're engaging the muscles of our back. Hands down, cross those ankles, and just release. Let everything hang. Hands to the floor. Pull yourself up and back. Bring the fabric overhead, behind, and find your way into a seat. Once you come into your little seat, I want you to reach down with your left hand and reach across with your right. So I'm going to go to that opposite pole, making a pivot. This is going to set us up for side plank. Legs can extend, coming onto that forearm and elbow. Take a float, engage the muscles of those legs. Setting up for our expression, top arm is going to reach for the back pole. Right, so I'm reaching behind me. Top leg is going to reach the front pole. So we come up, through, and hook in front. Now if you feel like you can reach the foot, that arm that's behind you is going to reach to the outside and find the foot. Not through the middle, we come behind the fabric. From here, you could extend and begin to sink your body weight. I like to progress this by taking that bottom foot and just tuck it in. So I'm going to put that bottom foot behind the opposite ankle and then let my body weight sink. Pelvis presses forward. There should be no back pain here, but feeling lots of stretch through side body, quads, and hip flexors. This is kind of a wonky one if you haven't tried it before, but once you're in it, I think it's so good. Come out of that nice and slow. If the bottom foot is tucked, release. Find that elbow and forearm. Hold the back fabric. We unravel. Coming into your side plank, your transition. Bottom arm is going to cross over. Coming into that upward plank, you will move a little. Second side. Hand to the floor. Pivot those hips, setting up. Side plank to start. Stack those lungs, stack those hips. Reaching for the pole that's behind you, so we're gonna go back pole with the hand, front pole with the back of that knee. You reach behind the fabric to find the foot, so that top arm grabs on the outside, not through the middle. As you sink into your pose, press the pelvis forward. Your progression, if you want, is to take that bottom leg, you tuck it behind the ankle, which is going to give you a little more opening in that quad and hip flexor region as you sink down. Nice breath in. Releasing that foot if it were tucked. As you climb up onto the elbow, right, we want to reach for the fabric behind so that you can unravel. You could start in that side plank first And then return back to that upward plank. I'm gonna cross over with the body. You can come to the knees, nice and slow. Roll yourself to the floor. Palms out to the side. Catch the ankles. Just notice change. Left leg will come up and across, taking that twist. Maybe hold on to the thigh with your right hand. Roll back to center. Press your ankles into the fabric, lift and lower. You want to align that spine and pelvis. Right leg comes across. Find your way back to center. Knees will come to the chest and legs can come out and around. Reach up for the fabric with your hands, pull yourself up. Heart comes first, then your head. Come into a little forward fold. Roll up and pull those legs underneath you. We're going to climb into our fabric. You'll make sure that you have no obvious tangles. And we're going to climb in. I want you to find the far edge. I'm going to take the curly edge that's furthest away from me. Spreading open the fabric, I'm going to put one knee in. And then you could slide forward into your hammock. Climb to the front. You'll place the right hand on the floor and try to pivot sideways. Right, so I want to stack my lungs, stack my hips. Top arm is going to reach for the fabric behind you. Right, so I'm holding on to that back edge. Engage the glutes and try to back bend here. So I'm going to open up my heart, squeeze into the back side, breathe in. On an exhale, I want you to try to fold in half. So toes to your face. Inhale, open. Squeeze back body. Exhale, fold in half. Move at your own pace. I just think this one's kind of fun. Squeeze into that back side. Maybe push yourself around a little bit. Kind of feels like you're in water. Coming back to center, reach up with both hands. You could find your way onto your back to get ready for that second side. If your fabric is slipping, bring it up a little higher, right underneath your arms. Pivot. Stacking everything on your second side. You're holding the fabric that's behind you with your top hand. Back bend, squeeze your glutes. Exhale, fold in half, toes to face. Just move on the breath. Your pace might look different than mine. Do one more. Maybe pause somewhere. Return to center, reach up with both hands. You'll transition onto your back. I want that fabric to come all the way up and cover the head. The toes are in, the head is in. And start a little side bend from one side over to the other. Steeple your fingers on the outside of that fabric overhead. And just take that little banana curve from one side over to the other, nice and slow. When you feel ready, come back to center. You can cross your arms over the chest in front of you, or you can come into this little steeple position, elbows bent overhead. Maybe you have that gentle flow of the hammock back and forth. Close your eyes and just let your practice go. Calling back the mind, awaken slowly. Coming back into those gentle little side bends from one side over to the other. Reach up with your hands, nice and slow. Pull yourself up with that fabric. You can kick your legs through the front. And just take a little fold forward. Catch the elbows. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, bring it into heart center. I am humbled and honored to be here working with you. Remember to check out our hammock class playlist on the channel. And if you are new, welcome. Consider subscribing. Hopefully I will work with you in the air again soon.